hello, and happy Friday, friends. It's me, Casey, with Create Captivate, again. If you have been playing along today, following along, you've probably seen me go live a couple of times at least, or tried to. My apologies, technology has not been kind to me at all today, but I think I have the issues all fixed and worked out. So welcome to take 473, it feels like, of episode number 20 of 5 Minute-ish Fri YAY. I am Casey McCoy, owner of Create Captivate Digital Marketing. My assistant and graphic designer, Kara, will not be able to jump on to this version. She was live with me earlier in a post you may have seen, but we had sound issues. We also recorded this morning, or went live this morning, from a spot where we did not have strong enough Wi-Fi or a strong enough phone service signal, and it did not publish. So it's been a day. So thanks for being patient if you are still trucking along here and jumping on this video with me right at the moment. I'm sitting outside. It's really nice out. We're getting some fall weather. If you're in the Hampton Roads region, yay for that, because it's been blazing hot. It's been pretty much still July weather lately. So I know everyone's really excited about that and trying to, get into the fall mood of things. So wherever you're at, what's the weather like in other parts of the country? Where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments below. I'm interested to see where everybody is today and how things are going on their Friday. Hopefully you're having a Fri YAY. I was having a Fri frustration, but it's gonna be all right. One of the things I learned over my years as being a military spouse is a phrase called Semper Gumby, and we used to use that in Compass, and it really just means always flexible. So I am gonna channel my inner Compass team leader and Semper Gumby right now. But let's get to the juicy part. If you are here to listen to some tips and tricks about outsourcing your social media marketing, then yay, because you're about to hear all about that. From my perspective, just some different things to consider and different things to watch for, look for, ask to whatever company. If it's not us, this isn't just about us. This is about getting you exactly what you need, no matter where you're getting that from. So we just want everyone to be successful and to be able to get the service that does them the biggest return on investment possible for the lowest cost possible as well. So we just want you all to be successful with whatever you're doing with your social media, whether you're bringing in a virtual assistant, you're working with a big agency, you're working with a micro agency like ours. Wherever your priorities lie and your budgets are at, we want you to really get the most out of it that you can. And over the years, I've seen this go awry in a lot of different ways. So I'm really just pulling from experience. I've been in this field for well over a decade, and I just really want to be able to show you all kind of some of the things I've seen and give some pointers on how to go about outsourcing this part of your business in a really successful manner. Now, sorry, I'm getting blinded. I'm actually going to move back inside my house because this sun is just, it's not in the spot it was a minute ago, of course, because, the sun moves. And sorry, this is a really close-up video of my face. Oof, scary. All right, I'm going to move over here. There we go. That's so much better. All right, so let's dig into the meat of the topic and talk about outsourcing your social media marketing. If you are to that point in your business, congratulations. That's huge. Most businesses don't have the funding or the capital. The ones that we work don't have the funding or capital to just jump into that and hire someone right away. So I'm assuming you've been in this game for a little bit, you've been working really hard, and it's kind of a pinnacle of success for you, right? Or you've started with a budget to be able to kind of piecemeal things together and you're kind of rolling in a good direction and building some momentum. So congratulations on reaching this level of business. Now let's talk about how to go into it, how to look for a company that's going to give you exactly what you want and need and expect. The first thing to do when you're thinking about outsourcing this piece of your business is to take a look at what your goals are. You need to know what your business objectives are overall, maybe your top 3 or 5, and you need to align those with social goals. So are you looking to just get as many people to know about your business as possible? Are you wanting leads, conversions, sales? Do you want foot traffic? Do you want online web? Do you want web traffic? What are you looking for exactly? You have to know that before you bring anyone else into the equation. Really, you need to have a full strategy in place for it to go really well, or you can hire someone to do that strategy as you're hiring them to kind of take over and make your content for you or publish it for you. You need to make sure that whoever is joining in on this journey with you has a solid foundation to work off of. So a strategy like we talked about a few weeks ago and showed you our workbook, that's a really good place to start. Not everyone's going to have that, but I suggest that if you are going to go this route, you have that kind of tool in place. Another tool that you might want to put in place, or you should have in place already, before considering outsourcing, is going and making sure that you have branding guidelines and you have social media guidelines. So I have a template that I'm willing to share with people. I usually share it just with my workshop attendees for a particular workshop they come through. But there is a template that I can pass around and have everyone just get a little step up on what kind of content you want your company to share, what kind of messaging you want to have, how you want to be perceived by your audience. So I need you as the business owner to understand that and have that in place. And that's, once again, maybe you're going to outsource your marketing, but maybe you need to ask for these things first. It just makes it a lot more successful. It helps companies really understand your voice and your tone. It helps them understand your target market and who you want to talk to, who you most want to capture the attention of. So those are just some of the tools. Maybe a social media policy. Perhaps you're not completely outsourcing, but you're just growing your team and you have someone new joining your company, and that's very exciting. And it's someone who has a little bit more time available in their role. It's a new role, and so you can add in some social media marketing to that. Just make sure that you have a policy in place of how you want your business presented. Even down to the nitty-gritty of what colors and what kinds of messaging you want, what platforms you're going to be on, how you'll respond to comments and private messages to your different platforms and profiles. It's a lot to think about, but when you do this and you put this in place from the get-go, you're going to have long-term success with it. You're much more likely to be successful. Now, once you have those tools in place and you're ready to outsource a company, there are different things to look for. I think that there's kind of a misconception in the small business world that when you're ready to outsource, you have to go big or go home or go all in or not at all. And that's not necessarily the case. And when I'm talking about that, what I mean is a lot of big agencies and huge companies that do marketing, social media marketing, only offer like this kind of full-blown, across the board, super intensive plan or package. And you might be able to find someone or a smaller team that can kind of piece it together for you in a way that helps you get the engagement, get the reach, get the following, grow your company, but in a much less much less of a time commitment, time involvement for whoever you're working with, which usually results in less money from you as well. So I, as a social media strategist and expert, I love to see businesses really utilize these tools. But there's nothing more painful in the world when I see a small business or a small nonprofit who hires some company and they don't go through these steps with them, and they just go, oh my gosh, yes, we want all of this, it's going to be fantastic, and then they hand off the keys and then the car gets wrecked, or it goes in a different direction, or they end up, on the other side of the planet, basically, from what the business owner really envisioned or really wanted or needed. And I'm not trying to talk badly about how anyone else does this service. I'm just saying that, there's a lot of miscommunications that it's just really painful to see on our end of when a business comes to us and they're very salty and upset about, company XYZ that they've worked with, or person or whoever, and how they spent all this money and they got nothing out of it. My question is always, well, what does that mean exactly? How much money did you spend? What were you promised? What were the kind of bullet points of what were you expecting? How were they supposed to manage your expectations? If you never had a discovery conversation with that company or that person, and they never asked you, who's your target audience? What is your goal with being on social media? What do you want to achieve? There's the problem. So I want you all to have just kind of that baseline of understanding that there are different goals, there are different objectives, there are different levels of perspectives on success with this. So some clients are perfectly happy just getting more brand awareness, or just staying, not even growing in awareness, but just staying relevant, right? Having some kind of presence, so that when people find out about your business, if they meet you at a networking event or they hear your ad on the radio, if they go and they look you up, hey Nasim, if they go and they look you up and you have a page out there, you have different social platforms, it legitimizes you to people. So, there's just that kind of relevancy, and then there's brand awareness and building a following, and kind of staying on top of your client's mind so that they know you're still doing business, you still, want to grow your company, so they know they can refer their friends and family to you when the opportunities arise. And then way down on the other side of the track are things like leads, conversions, sales, foot traffic, downloads and purchases. So there's a lot of different things to consider. And you have to have a solid footing before you go in, because if you don't, you're going to walk out disappointed. And nobody wants that. That does you a disservice, that does the company a disservice. So just make sure that you know exactly what you want and you have those conversations ahead of time. Have that discovery process. Go through the process of really exploring who your audience is, what your goals are, what you want to achieve, and the actions that you want people to take from this, so that the companies that you hire, the people that you hire, know what calls to action to use, know where they're supposed to be directing your audience to. So do you want people to go to your website? Do you prefer them to sign up for your e-newsletter? Do you want them to go follow you on another platform? Need to go through that process, and if the company or the person that you're thinking about working with isn't asking you those questions, bring it up. Or go somewhere else. Go somewhere where people are going to walk you through that process and really want to set you up for success. Another thing to look for is commitment levels. So that's kind of a twofer, right? So there's two parts to this part of the equation. And the first part is looking at commitment level in terms of your commitment, what you want to put into it, how involved you want to be. Do you want to just toss the keys to these people and walk away and say, okay, tell me how it's going after a few months, or maybe I'll look it up myself? Or do you want to kind of baby step yourself into that? There are plenty of companies and different options out there, whether you work with a VA, a virtual assistant, or you work with a kind of a smaller agency that customizes their packages a little bit. You want to be able to really just look at your pain point of what is the struggle with social media for you? How can someone best offload that for you? If you have loads of content and loads of ideas, but are really strapped for time because you are just running from one client to the next and serving your clientele, and you can't cram in publishing and scheduling out content, then look for a company who's going to just take that for you. If you struggle with the creative, it's coming up with fresh and innovative ideas and new conversations to have in these spaces, then maybe you just need a company who will kind of put together a content plan, come up with some ideas, hand them back to you, and then your team, whoever you have in your office, can implement and publish those for you. There are a ton of other options within this realm, but just think about really where the struggle lies for you and know that, and go to a company and say, okay, this is my problem with it. How can you help me fix just this? And then that way you don't have to dive into some huge plan. You get what you need, and then you can build and grow from there if you choose to along the way. There are tons of options with that. The second part of the commitment level is looking at their minimum contract requirements. Okay? So a lot of companies will lock you in to a long-term contract. Now, long-term, what does that really mean? It's going to mean something different to everyone. Long-term, in my opinion, is anything past a year or longer. Now, that's my opinion. A lot of companies, a lot of my competitors don't think a year is a long time. But in terms of your business and your small business, your nonprofit, maybe a year is huge for you. And you have a very cyclical business. And you're like, oof, I know I want this service, but I know I'm willing to try it, and it does take time to see results. And so that's why companies require a minimum contract in these kinds of packages and offerings. It's because it does take time, right? It takes time to really get the ball rolling and see some results at the end of the day. However, if a company is locking you into a 3+ year contract, that's questionable, in my opinion. Now, I may get some haters or trolls on this video someday for saying that, but in my mind, if I can't do what I need to do for you in a matter of just a few months, then I probably shouldn't be doing that service or offering it. Quite honestly, that's how I feel. That's my own personal vendetta with it is, I'm very confident in us and our team and how well we work. So we do things a little bit differently over here at Create Captivate. We offer minimum 3-month commitments on social media packages. And if you're doing something like advertising, we can break it down even from there and do a little bit less than that. So we can do a la carte as long as we're understanding that it does take time to see results, So even if we do lock someone into, we're never gonna lock you in, like throw away the key, shut the door into a long-term contract. But that's really something you need to be aware of and be wary of as well. So if you have a nonprofit and you're going to hand this off to somebody and they require a 3-year contract, what's going to happen over the course? 3 years is a long time. What's going to happen over the course of those 3 years? Life happens, and I've seen businesses of all kinds and organizations of all kinds have issues with this, where they've hired someone, they've got locked into a contract, and then and then either life happens and takes them for a loop, and they have to take a big step away from their business, but they're still having to pay that bill, and they really need that money for something else. Look for companies with a little bit of flexibility on that front, that are going to treat you like a person. That's just my recommendation, my own personal opinion, so take it as you will, but I'm just throwing it out there. Commitment level on those two different variables. So when you have had these discovery conversations and you've explored some different options, then go back and see kind of who is the best fit. Always explore your opportunities. There's a lot of great marketers out there. There really are. So I just want to make sure that anyone we know or is following us, even if you don't work with us in particular, we want you to be successful at the end of the day. We wish everyone well. We want you all to go out there and just crush it, right? So these are just a few of the things that I've seen over the years that have really gotten people hung up when it comes to outsourcing their social media marketing. So look for those kinds of signs, have those conversations, and know really what it means to you and what your expectations are, and make sure that you express that to whoever you're going to work with. And I think that's really what makes it successful at the end of the day, is to kind of recap here at the end, to go back and to know your goals and objectives. What do you want to achieve at the end of the day? Who's your audience? What kind of action do you want people to take from the posts that are being done for you? And what do you really need? Like baseline, bottom line, where's the biggest pain point or struggle for you? How can you get help without breaking the bank, without being really stressed out about it? There are loads of opportunities and options with there. So if you have any questions about outsourcing your social media, drop them in the comments below. I'm always happy to help someone out, even if I'm not going to be the one creating that content or doing the overall strategy for you. So happy to answer questions, coach people through it. I know a lot of small businesses and nonprofits really have to DIY things to a point. So go for it, get after it, make it happen, and then grow it from there. So that's my little soapbox moment on social media outsourcing. If you want to take a look at our events tab, just a shameless self-promotion plug right quick, look at our events tab. We have a few more workshops coming up through the end of the year. So this month we have a Facebook Advanced, which really focuses on dynamic advertising. So it's the thing that when you're on a website and you go over to Facebook and suddenly that item that you were just looking at on the Target website is now in an ad in front of you on Facebook. I'm going to teach you how to do that yourselves for your own products and services. And then at the end of the month, we have a YouTube class. We're going to talk about monetization and growing a following and just YouTube strategy in general. All the latest tools within the YouTube platform. So I'm pretty stoked on that one. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then in November, we'll do a Measuring Your Metrics course. We'll be releasing more details about that. But it's really just looking at the analytics across the web for you. Whatever platforms you're using, your website, whatever it might be, taking a look at that overall and kind of seeing what worked, what didn't, and how you can improve for next year. Then the last final hurrah of the Create Captivate social media workshop extravaganza that has been 2019 will be a content planathon. Now when I say planathon, we're not gonna go spend 24 hours locked in a building somewhere planning our content. We are going to work really hard for 4 hours. I will feed you lunch. It will be loads of fun. You will get all kinds of templates and tools and things to help you start off 2020 with a really strong marketing strategy and game plan. So that's going to be released soon as well. But next week, Kara and I will be back live the normal way. Thank you for watching. I know that there were a bunch of hiccups today, so if you're trying to watch this morning at 7:45, thank you for attempting to watch that with us. If you were attempting to watch earlier this afternoon with Kara and I in the split screen, sorry for the sound issues, but thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week. We'll still be talking social media marketing.